places, from mountains like Mount Princeton, Shavano, Huron, to trails like the Colorado Trail or Coachella Pass. All of these have the same mindset when it comes to packing a backpack. My whole life I've overpacked. In my life I've always lived by the quote, overpacking is prepared while underpacking is regret. Well, it's a different story when it comes to backpacking. So the first time I ever packed for a backpacking trip, I packed about triple the amount as my father and my sister. And little did I know that I would regret that decision after I packed a bunch of stuff weighing probably over 40 pounds, which is way too much stuff. So since then I've learned a thing or two about packing, and today I'll share 5 categories that I think are important to think about when you're packing a backpack. The clothing, food, sleep, shelter, and safety gear. So if backpacking interests you, hopefully this list will enlighten you about those topics. First section is about clothing. So when it comes to clothing, the weather's always changing wherever you're going backpacking, so you want to have the appropriate type of clothing. Matt Hyde's 2020 Backpacking 3-Season Gear Checklist says cotton should be generally avoided at all costs. It takes time to dry, leaving you cold and even at risk of hypothermia. So instead of having cotton, you should resort to things like dry fit, like nylon or polyester. So the second thing is rain gear and wind gear, 2 different things, and you should have both. Third is a belt, and not just to hold up your pants, but to also use as a carabiner. So instead of taking your 20 to 25 pound backpack off and on constantly, you can just have your main important things that you want throughout your trip, day trip, like a water bottle, safety gear, snack bag, etc. Lastly, you want to stay warm. And the 3 characteristics I always keep warm and keep comfortable is your head, your hands, and your feet. So have a comfortable socks for your walking trip, have warm socks for sleeping, always a hat, and always gloves. Next section is about food and cooking gear. 3 main points I think about when I think of food and water when camping is have food lightweight, have food filling, and have water purified. According to Asher Lyric blog featuring on The Guardian, their #1 suggested item to have when backpacking is dehydrated food bags, aka MREs. These are basically just meals that you add water, and between 5 and 15 minutes you can have a full course meal. The Ultimate Hiker's Gear Guide, 2nd edition by Andrew Skurga, it's recommended that you consume between 2,000 and 2,500 calories depending on how many mileage you're covering per day. It's always good to stay hydrated and stay well nourished because you don't want to end up sick out in the wilderness. When it comes to water, you need to have water tablets or a life straw. You cannot just drink the regular water out there. Take it from experience. You could get Giardia or some other waterborne illness, and it is not fun. The next section is for sleeping and camping gear. So AMC's Best Backpacking in New England, 2nd edition by Matt Hyde, describes tents these days. The lighter they are, the less spacious they are. Now the tent will be the heaviest gear that you carry in your backpack, but depending on how much space you want, the extra weight may as well be worth it. Another thing you want to think about with sleeping is, and setting up your camp, is the time of day. So if usually the first day you won't have as much time because you don't know where the things are in your backpack, you're very disoriented, so you need to leave enough time to set up your camp during the day, because there's nothing worse than setting up camp in the dark with a headlamp and not knowing where everything is. Lastly, and most importantly, safety gear. So safety gear is narrowed down to 3 main things: a safety kit, bear spray, and a satellite phone. Of course, first aid for cuts. Have moleskin, which is just kind of like a thick tape to keep bruises or blisters dry until you can clean it. Bear spray, of course, you never know what territory you're invading, so you always want to be on your guard. And 3, a satellite phone, so that you're always ready just in case you ever need to call 911 or any other emergency situation. This may seem like a lot of things to carry around in one backpack, but honestly, compared to the first time I ever packed a bag, this is nothing compared to that. And some people may even say that my pack is way too vigorous too much. I still can't believe that some people go around backpacking with a toothbrush, pair of underwear, and a can of beans for a week. But for us beginners, this is a pretty basic and well-rounded packing list. And after visiting these 5 categories, I hope that when you go on your next backpacking trip, you take these into consideration. And instead of thinking overpacking is prepared and underpacking is regret, you think about the weight most of all. You don't want to have too heavy a backpack because you're already carrying around 20 to 25 pounds on your back. So hopefully after you look at this list, I'll have saved you a few aches and pains. Thank you.